What's going on, guys? Hope you're doing well. Bear with me a second. Bear with me a second, guys. Let me silence my phone. But yeah, I hope everybody's having a good evening. Just tossing a couple things. Let's see. All right, what's up, guys? Let me set this thing to public on Facebook for some reason. I have to. That's not what I wanted. All right, there we go. Now we're public. What's up, guys? What's up, Cameron? Guys, do me a favor, share out the video, tag all your friends and family, etc. I'm just going to share it out real quick to a few places. There's Miss Lori.
Hi.
What's up, Lori?
Hey.
Bear with me
This is
just
a little impromptu session. I was like, I'm eating dinner, but I'll be there.
yeah, exactly. Sadly, man, a lot of times when it comes to the Creator's Corner thing, I just kind of have to jump on it, while I'm thinking about the stuff that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
And so I go, I'll just go live tonight, or I'll go live tomorrow, and and talk about this stuff. But the reason, like this one, like it wasn't a planned thing. That's why it's kind of a spur of the moment. Because I saw a post. Hang on one second. I'm just sharing this out to a couple places. But I saw a post. Nita had made a comment, and that's what made me want to talk about this Kickstarter, because there's this little bullshit mythy thing floating around at the moment, and that I think we need to nip in the ass real quick. In general for Kickstarters. And I'll get on that here in just a second. Let me tag
the suspense. The suspense is killing me. Nita, if I didn't have a previous commitment, I would be there with you guys. Yeah, Nita, what's up, man?
What's up, Nita? Yeah, and I wish I would have been able to, because sadly I don't write my thought processes down. So if there's something that pops up that I think needs to be talked about, I kind of just jump on it. And I saw this like yesterday or I think the day before, but I was super busy yesterday and I couldn't get back to it. Then and I'd actually kind of forgot about it again until I kind of ran across the post again today. And then it was like, oh shit, let me. So
what did the post say?
All right, so she had made a post, and I'm going to generalize here a little bit. You guys can go to her page to see the post, but she had made a comment about, it was pretty much saying that people needs to stop trying to tell everyone that they have to have $10,000 to do a Kickstarter. That's the bare minimum. And then there's there's some people that want to chime in on that a little bit. As I was reading her post, where someone was saying, oh well, that's what it costs to do Kickstarters for brand new people, and that's the bare minimum. And if you're in other words, what? And they were saying like, and if you pay everyone the money that they deserve, then that's the kind of roundabout area you're going to be for a Kickstarter. So I mean, I'm definitely, you do Kickstarters, I do Kickstarters, and we're not fresh on the block either. So we got more than one damn Kickstarter under our belt.
Yeah. And so none of mine have been 10K.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like we talked about before, a lot of times if we, especially I know with my book and I think with yours too. Now, if we matched what other Kickstarters are technically doing, I know especially in my situation, if I even just match the other Kickstarter, and I'm not talking about home run hitters, big, well named. I'm just talking about the other Kickstarters nobody knows shit about, that are doing these Kickstarters. And if I price mine according to that, I would probably be in the 10K, 15K. But that's not what it costs to do a Kickstarter or create a comic.
No. And it's different for everybody. It just
Right.
depends on who is your creative team and who's the one that's running the project. Like you and I, like Psychocell and Path of the Pale Rider, we're paying an artistic team.
Yep.
So it's going to be a little bit more. But there are like artist writers out there that all they need is $500 or maybe $1,000 because all they're doing is helping to pay for the print job.
Right.
So it just really depends on what you're doing. And of course, everybody's books are printed differently. They have a different amount of pages. The quality will be different. Hardcover, graphic novel, floppy, it's all different. So the budget changes depending on the program. But for someone to come in and say it costs 10 grand, good Lord, we would have so many less creators out there producing things.
The other reason, and the reason I wanted to bring that up and kind of put a video out about it, because it's not only is it creating unrealistic expectations and goal ranges, but it's also the way he was stating his defense of it was that that's what it took to pay everybody a working wage. So, and that's not true because, I know for me personally, I know you do it too, and a lot of others, we're paying people what they're asking for their payments.
Yes.
Like I don't argue people their money. If it's too pricey for me, I'll move on to someone else. But but him making that statement, it's almost he's implying. So here's the thing.
He's implying that if you're not getting a 10K, you're not paying people enough to produce the item.
That's kind of what he was saying in a way, or that's the way it read. And it also read in the sense, now if you add this up, if you're paying a colorist, you're paying an artist, you're paying an inker, if possible. I mean, or if so, you're paying an editor, all this stuff. So if let's say you're paying someone, let's say you're paying an artist that charges $120 to $140 a page. Mm-hmm. Okay, first off, if your ass is not drawn for Marvel or DC, you are not getting $120 to $140 a page. So. But when you say 10K, when you sit down, like I sat down and added the numbers up, if I was paying someone the prices that Marvel and DC pay people, so the cover guy, the letter guy, the inker, or let's just skip the inker. Let's say the penciler sends the raw pencil straight.
Yeah. Okay.
A lot of people do that. So let's skip that one. But if you hire those people at those rates, you're doing a $10,000 book. So that's what I was kind of getting at. Him saying that is him trying to compare himself and these other amateurs and people who haven't done pro work should be getting paid pro prices.
Right. And Nita has a good point too. It's like asking people to pay 10K and no one knows who you are. Exactly. You're setting yourself up to fail, but also for creators to have to compare themselves to that, where it's like, if I'm not making 10K, then I'm not going to succeed. And that's not the truth. This whole thing is a journey. You start at one place, like our first issue was black and white. And I lettered it myself, and I didn't know what the heck I was doing. But then we grow and we continue to, and we're adding people. And it's like, now that we're more well-known and our antics are getting out there, people discover what we do and more people are coming. And that's part of it. You know what I mean? You're not going to start at 10K. You're going to start at 1 or 2 and grow. And that's the natural progression of things.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I agree with you on that. I think having, and that's not the first time I've seen someone try to do that. And I was like, you can't say that because you're not a pro. You're not getting pro fees. I'm not paying you $700 a cover and nobody's ever heard of you. I'm not paying you $140 a page to draw a book and no one's ever heard of you. You have no fan base. You have nothing you bring to the table. Even if your art is really good, you're not, I'm not, the arts I'm not concerned about. What I'm concerned about is what you might bring to the table if I'm paying you those kind of prices. So I think that's a really bad way of him or people to try to tell others on what it takes to be done, especially people that's not doing. It's always people that don't do Kickstarter. I get such a tickle out of that. It's always someone who doesn't do Kickstarter, who isn't footing their own money, telling people what it should be. And, and like I said, I think it creates false
expectations. What imaginary land do you live?
And like, you're not spending 10K. I mean, Psycho
Oh.
Sal is done quality. It's quality art, it's quality writing, it's quality lettering, it's quality printing, it's quality shipping, it's quality from A to Z. And I'm spending about $5,000 a book.
Hmm.
That's what I'm out of pocket. So, like I said, and there's shortcuts you can take to where you're not even paying as much as I'm paying. There's some of these guys floating around, they're doing books for like $2,000, you know,
Jeez, that's
so I mean,
impressive. As long
yeah,
as it's good, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
again, it's like you get what you pay for to an extent. But you're right. It's like you don't have to you can get a quality book. There are artists out there that do amazing work, and like you said, they are
yeah,
not that well known, but they still do great work. And I
yeah,
would love, I love to give people a chance. You know what I mean? It's like look at my variant covers. I try to pick two pros and two up and comers that nobody has heard of. And my covers have always been amazing. They're
yep,
always a little different from each other, but there's something for everybody.
yep,
So, how are these people that are no names going to be big names? They have to continue to work. So, if
yeah,
we're, you know what I mean? No one's going to pay them, like you said, $140 a page.
yeah,
So why can't they drop their rate so that way they are more attractive and people can hire them and they can grow their resume? It just
yeah.
doesn't make any sense. Like there is no one cookie cutter way to do anything in this world. Why would Kickstarter be the exception?
Yeah. Yeah. If you get in, like I said, I sat down and did the numbers on it. And when you get into the range where you're hiring, it's all pros, you
Yeah.
know, and you're paying 10K just to create a book. And that's not counting the printing. That's just that. Then
That's
you're going to
just
be doing
risky.
20,000 $30,000 Kickstarters because again, now I'm not talking about TNA
Hopefully.
Kickstarters or any of that. But well, I'm saying like when you're spending that kind of money, you're hiring pros, and so
Right,
you're going
and they should
to
be advertising, they should have a social media footprint, they should be able to help bring people to the project based on their work experience and their exposure. That's what I would expect from somebody that I'm paying top dollar for,
yeah,
but, if you're doing that and you're not making 20 and 30, oh, that's a risk. No one knows who you are, and you're
yep.
spending 10K to produce a book, that's a huge risk, man.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, that's a unique situation. That's not everybody. And like
Yeah.
I said, when you're spending that kind of money to create a book, again, we're not talking about the printing process, just the creation. Again, you're
Mhm.
going to do those $30,000 $40,000 because you're all those pros are bringing their followers to
It
that's
should
going to
be.
support it. So if you're brand new to Kickstarter, even if you've done one or done two, you have to be not only realistic about your expectations of what it's going to
Mhm.
cost you to create the book and shop it proper. You want to try to do as much quality as you can so it's not crappy, because your first impressions are the only ones you're going to have with this. And if they get your book the first time and it's hot trash, they're probably
They're
not going to
done.
buy it.
They're
If
not coming back.
yeah, you ship it crappy, uh, they're not coming back. I mean, I used to back a lot of Kickstarters. Shit, I had nothing to do with, and I had no plans to read it. They were just on my friends list, so I back. Oh, here's $30, here's $40, here's 20, and I quit doing a lot of that because I mean, I had people that were charging me $10 shipping, and it was showing up in a Manila envelope for media mail for $3. You know, and I quit dealing with them because of it. First impressions. So, so
Manila
if you're
envelope.
but the other thing too is in the indie community, a lot of you guys out there that might be seeing this, and we're not trying, or me personally, since I'm saying this, I don't want anybody working for free. Now there may be moments where you might feel obligated to yourself to maybe you got a chance to do a book that has a big following that you could negotiate a much lower price so you get to do a cover, and it has a bit of recognition that you'll get from it by doing that cover, a little bit of what they call exposure. But even then, I think you should take something for your time. But
Yeah, yeah.
got to be realistic too. If you are Joe Blow and I don't give a shit how good your art is or how pretty you are, if you've never done a published cover, I'm not paying you $500 to do a cover.
Yeah.
You have nothing. You have no fan base, and it goes across the board. I mean, I'm sure you've experienced that where you saw someone's art that you thought was pretty cool that might fit your book, and you send them a message, hey, or they send you a message, hey, I saw your book, I'd love to do a cover. Okay, cool. What's your
Yeah.
price? Oh, it's 500.
Yeah.
What
My
cover
thing
did you
is,
do? Oh no.
um, oh Lord. People send me their stuff all the time and they're like, you know, and I'm always cordial because I mean, like, maybe I do like their style and I want to use them someday, but like where I am right now, I'm Kickstartering number 4. I don't have any open spots for variant stuff. Plus, when you hit 500, comes yep, and their algorithm helps you gain more backers. Plus, people don't want to take the time to hear the back end science of it. 100, 125, yes.
Oh, sorry.
Slower goals help you make more money, dummies. Lower goals, not stupid low, but reasonable. You have to be able to have something where you could still
Yeah.
provide the things that you promise. But yeah, I mean, that's always the thing too. And there's debate again in the Kickstarter community. Where do you set your goal?
Yeah.
Do you set it where you actually need it? Do you set it lower than that? Do you set it at 500 so you're funded in a day? It's all about playing with that algorithm, but still making sure that you get enough money that you can proceed. Because if I put it at 500 and I promised a bunch of books and I only made 500, guess what? My
Yeah.
book's not getting done. I can't.
So,
Nope. There will be no books for 500.
yep.
So,
Yeah, it's a scary
um,
thing for sure, but that's where you got to know your fan base.
right.
That's where you got to know your supporters. Now, me personally, I'm a little bit more unique than most. I get that. You know, I made the determination and the decision that when I did my first Kickstarter for Psycho Sal, which was a terrifying thing in general,
Oh, it is.
but it's also terrifying because it's the horror market, which is a much smaller market in general. There is no TNA to my book for the most part, so I don't have that to crutch on. And so I was super terrified, but I made that decision, even though that first book was costing me about $4,000 to make. It was going to get printed regardless of what my Kickstarter did. You know,
Yeah.
I 100% funded my book before we ever turned the Kickstarter on. So I'd already spent the $4,000 to create my book. And, you know, and luckily, knock on wood, the fans showed up and showed out, and it did like over $6,000 on the first one. Now,
Mhm.
because of that unique decision that it's going to get printed regardless of what happens, you know, I made my mind up there. You know, I'd set my goal for like $1,000 goal, and it did over $6,000. I think it was almost $7,000. It's like, what was it, like 65, 6,700, something like that, I think, give or take, which is huge for a brand new IP.
For a
In my
brand new
opinion,
one, it's amazing.
brand new IP, horror market, a smaller market, and then a brand new creator. And then the fact that we did, you know, over $6,000, and we did it off of $6 and $8 books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
hard to do.
yeah. So I mean, I'm super proud of that. But that's that unique spot. You can't, like, you do have to figure out where your goal needs to be, but you can't
Yeah.
show up on day one as a brand new IP, brand new creator. You barely have a fan base and go, oh, hey guys, it's a $10,000 goal.
Fail. It's set up to fail is what that is.
I've already watched
Um,
it.
it's bad advice.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, so for anybody listening to this, if you see when you see people, first things first, don't take advice from divorced people. Don't take sober advice from an alcoholic, and don't take Kickstarter advice from people that's never done Kickstarters.
that's probably sound advice. Always find someone that is doing what you are trying to accomplish and
Yep.
then see if you can ask them for advice. There's a lot of people in the indie community that are very very generous with information. And again, it's going to be different. We're all going to I run my Kickstarters different than William and we have different opinions of how, but that's just what works for us individuals. So
Yep.
you hear all the advice, you hear all the different takes and then figure out what would work best for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you got a Kickstarter going on right now, and I think
Yep.
you guys are over $5,000. And what are we,
Mhm.
3 days in or something, or 4 days in?
I'm doing a 28-day campaign. We are just past the halfway mark. And we're at 55.81. So we're like at 100. My goals are like 45.50,
Yeah.
which is like our black and white book.
Right.
Right.
And I mean, and your Kickstarters are kicking ass. So I mean,
Yeah.
that writing itself, and that's the great thing about it is she set, you set reasonable goals. You got really cool add-ons, and you got really cool stretch goals, and you got all this stuff that people like to get. Then you're also putting quality effort into the book. You're hiring quality artists to do the
Mhm.
covers, and you're hiring artists who get off their ass and promote.
Yep.
Don't get us wrong, we're not asking people to promote their covers every damn day. Maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks. Share out the damn link.
Right.
We'll do
Right.
the rest. But yeah. So I mean, you're sitting here doing that, and then by the end of the day, you're probably going to have what? What do you think you'll have in your Kickstarter as far as creating your book? Not the printing or any of that, not the shipping, but just the creation of it. Probably what, $5,000, $4,000, something like that, give or take. And you don't have to share that
I'm
if you
over
don't want to.
$4,000. I'm around
Yeah,
there in art production.
yeah,
My print jobs are usually around $1,000, give or take. I usually over order
yeah.
because I do cons and I'm active. I work my butt off. You want to hear what it takes to have a successful Kickstarter? I do over 30 plus podcasts in 28 days. I'm doing two-day cons, and I'm visiting 3, 4, 5 different LCSs. Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
not the marketers and scam, but the Fiverr folks. Oh Lord. Yeah, no, don't pay them money. They won't do anything. All they're gonna do is get bots to follow your campaign, and their
Ain't
bots are
buying
gonna
shit.
back stuff, and then the credit cards bounce after the
Yep.
campaign is over. You get nothing. So
Yeah.
don't follow them.
Yeah.
Yeah. People that know
It's
what they're doing will give you the information for free.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Anybody that's in the indie community that knows what's going on or is willing to help, that they claim they want to see you succeed, as they would like to quote, they'll do it for free. You
Mhm.
know. Now, if you're asking someone, "Hey, I need you to promote me," then
That's
pay
different.
somebody for their service.
Yeah.
But if somebody comes to you and they can't show you that love, tell them to bounce. I mean, it's just that straightforward. Hey, what's up, Philip?
Hi, Phil.
Um, so I mean, so there's no doubt about it. Like it's definitely unique from book to book, creator to creator, fan base to fan base.
Right.
When I do my Kickstarter, hell, I might talk about it once or twice on some videos, telling people it's coming, and then I do like the cover or the cover artist announcements like one week, and then as the covers roll in, then I take that week and do cover reveals, and I might do one or two of these little podcasts where I kind of talk about it, but I don't do a lot of it.
Yeah,
Um,
he doesn't have to do as much work as I do. Well, because you've been around longer than I do and you have a different audience,
yeah,
right?
yeah, my fan base. But to be fair, now when the Kickstarter lands, I probably share it and promote it way more than most people do.
Yeah.
I've had people like, "You don't think you're spam?" I was like, "Hell no, no, hell no."
No.
With the algorithm being the way it is on Facebook, I've got last Kickstarter. I've got three places that I share to, not counting any of the public like groups, and I still have people that didn't know that Kickstarter was going on.
Exactly. It takes like 3 days sometimes for things to even show up in the news feed.
Yep,
I have people liking stuff where I was at 77%, so even
yeah,
before I was funded. They're like, "Hey, keep going, Lori," and I'm like, What? We're at like 125% now. Like, where have you been?" Like, but
yeah,
that's when it crosses their timeline, right? So you just have to post consistently. Sometimes I'm posting 3 times a day. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. I
Um,
do. I share it when I go live. I share it to my
mhm,
page, my art group, my public art group, my private art group, and then I share it out to some of the indie groups and
mhm,
a couple of the comic groups. Then I'll wait a couple days and I'll share it again. I'm going to share it because this is the way I have decided in my life how things are.
mhm.
If people don't, because people were like, "Oh, you're going to spam people and they're going to get mad." Okay, first off, my true fans are not going to get mad at you about grinding. They're not going to get mad at you about hustling. I
Mhm.
say the same thing about the everyone tag. The people that matter aren't going to get pissy about the everyone tag. Not in your group. Now, I don't give a shit about the everyone tag floating all around the world and everywhere else. So, if the way I look at it, if anybody's pissed off at me about how many times I share my Kickstarter and what's going on with that, they're probably not a fan any damn
Right, and they're not backing you anyway, so who
way.
cares? Who cares what they think? And my thing is like, I change up the content all the time. So I'm not just putting the link and saying, come back us. I'm like, hey, did you see our short film? Or did you see the antics from the welcome? Or did you see the new merch that came in? And did you know what else we did, you know, with our secret rewards? We have these cool things so I just change it up all the time. And I, you know, so it's something exciting and new that maybe some of the new followers haven't seen before. And they're like, oh, I didn't even know she did that. Like, secret reward, what the heck is that?
Yeah, I
So
can
just skipping 2 days a week in groups.
clarify, when I'm sharing mine, it's not for the same groups. So just so people know that, like when I share out my content and then 2 or 3 days later I share it again, it's going to all brand new areas. Trust me, I know how to handle
good advice,
it.
Nita.
I'm probably one of the only people that hasn't been banned or labeled as spam.
I haven't yet either. Fingers crossed.
So yeah, knock on wood. I haven't had it happen yet because again, the algorithm is going to bury our shit anyway. So I'm going to promote. I'm going to talk about it on drives. I'm going to, you know, you got to, but you do have to keep that because Facebook will label you a spam if you do too much too fast.
Yeah, Nita, you get banned for other reasons, honey.
Yeah.
They're entertaining though. I'm always laughing.
Yeah, it's insane, oversensitive Facebook. But yeah, it's not, you know, that was the main thing I wanted to talk about because you got to be realistic. You got to set yourself up for success. And if you're listening to people that don't do Kickstarters telling you how, what's up, Andrew? Telling you how you got to do $10,000 goals or you're not successful or or you're not paying people a living wage.
Bite me.
Yeah. So, you know, but that's the bad thing about it. See, that's what's wrong with the art community right now. You got artists that are chiming in like that. What am I adding to stage?
Oh, if you wanted to show it, we were talking about the Kickstarter. I just wanted to show people because William and I are working on the same, like two projects at the same time. I'm working on his stuff and he's working on mine, but I wanted to show off his cover because it's so cool. And this is the one that's live right now. Is
if you guys haven't backed her book, please get off your ass and go back it. I'm going to be blunt with you because we are better than Clayton Cranes. We are better than Black Flags. We are better than all these other people that everybody wants to throw some money at because we're not going to steal your wife. But yeah, make sure you guys go check out her Kickstarter because the book is actually a really good book. It's got some great covers on it, some fun covers on it. This is issue number 4.
We're on 4 right now. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not it's not a new Kickstarter in the sense like she fulfills her Kickstarters, and Lori does hers similar to the way I do mine. She ships hers out really damn quick too, so you're not waiting 8 months to a year or any of that silly crap to get your books. But yeah, make sure you guys check out her, and feel free to put the link in the chat there too, Lori, for the Kickstarter. But yeah, make sure you guys check out her Kickstarter. It's already fully funded. So now it's just riding the time out until it's over. 12 days.
I can't post it in there. I don't have a wrench. Can you post it? It's just, I'll put it in the private chat. It's really easy. It's not the whole thing. It's just pale-rider.com. It's really easy.
Yeah. So I just copy that, I guess.
But yeah, I mean, I love when we get to this point. It's like we still got 12 days to go. So there's plenty of time for people to hop on. And it's like stretch goal, a stretch goal, a stretch goal. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. This is just all unlocked. So
we unlock like the indie bundle. So everybody's stuff is in here. We are unlocking poker cards. We unlocked koozies last night. So I'm making these. Where are they? A little bit farther down. Stretch goals.
Yeah.
So we just unlocked these. And then we're like 6 backers away from unlocking another card because every 50 backers we're unlocking poker cards, which is super cool. And then after that, we're working on smashing pumpkins on Halloween, which will be hilarious and fun. So I mean, like I'm not your typical Kickstarter. I like merch, but I like doing other fun stuff. Yeah. And this is the craziest welcome video you're ever gonna see. Like, I'm just gonna play 2 seconds. We really have no idea. Yeah. That's how I roll.
Yeah. Make sure you guys go back to Kickstarter because look, here's the thing. A lot of you guys are great supporters of comics in general. and a lot of you are supporters of indie projects. And there's nothing wrong with supporting mainstream comics, but I'm telling you right now, a lot of these books that are coming out of the indie market and you got to start paying some close attention to, because like a lot of these books, we're creating them in the format and the style to be picked up by houses. And what I mean by that is, in the world of entertainment, apps and stuff like Hulu and Prime and Netflix and all these different platforms, they are not shopping Marvel, DC, or Image. Because they have their own production house for the most part, especially for Marvel and DC, and Image is still kind of being a lot of pricey on their end. So they're starting to shop a lot of the indie market. So they're looking at, and especially with horror being as hot as it is over the last couple of years, they're definitely looking in those avenues. So make sure you guys are paying close attention to that. Make sure you guys are supporting indie creators, especially the ones coming from Charter Comics. I think we have some of the fastest producing books in the indie market right now. With, I think, Psycho Sound is about a month and a half to 2 months between each issue physically in people's hands, give or take. And I think you're close to about the same thing, aren't you? If not the same.
We're not nearly that fast. We're not that close. No, Carissa is every other month. We're like right now. The last two were 6 months, but it's like we're much faster than that. But we had like a printer disappear in the middle. Remember that?
Yep.
And then I had a colorist quit in the middle of a project last time, so we replaced them. But we are much quicker than every 6 months. But it's like it just didn't work out that way. Always have a plan B. So I'm really excited to see how this one is going to go. Knock on wood that nothing like tree doesn't fall on my house or something crazy. But that will probably be closer to our actual pace than the.
Yeah, we got delayed on this one too. Well, we got delayed on last issue because the
printer issue. Yep.
And,
you remember that? I was like, what are you doing for your printer? Yeah. Like, I don't know, Lori.
We thought we were going to have to change printers completely.
Yeah. And he had already started printing mine. He was in the middle of printing mine, and then I was like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, some kind of emotional thing. I don't know what it was, but yeah, so there's nothing you can do about, the monkey wrenches being thrown into things. I mean, we're 2 weeks behind. And again, I keep saying I'm 2 weeks behind, but I'm not, because I'm still faster than 90% of the other ones out there.
Yeah.
So, but in my mind, in my time frame, I look at it as I'm 2 weeks behind. And that's because we had an art issue that luckily Lori and McLean caught before, we sent it to print. And the sad thing is when you find an art problem that has to be fixed, that was at the stage of almost ready to go to print, that means you have to draw it, you have to re-ink it, you have to recolor it, and that takes about a week and a half to get all that done. And then we, had to make a couple editorial adjustments and stuff too. So there's always going to be monkey wrenches that are going to get flung around. There's nothing you can do about that one, but we try our best. Like, I'm trying my damnedest. And of course that's to the thanks to McLean and Lori and Elise and everybody that's busting their ass to get this shit done in my ridiculous time frame, because I'm going, here you go, you got 2 weeks, or here you go, you got 3 weeks.
At least I'm good at my thing. Like when you're like, all right, we have our meeting, and I'm like, here you go. Like I can get a script out pretty quick too. Because I'm excited about the story and I can just sit down and like get it out. But it's different. Like when you're creating art, it takes time and to really make it quality. But for me, it's like I can type pretty fast.
It matters. I mean, a lot of people kind of just throw shit together, and I'm like, you wonder why it takes you a year to get your book done. I've been very anal about who I brought onto my projects. Even with the guest artists that come on, I tell them straight up, okay, because I try to give them plenty of time to get their art done, because I know some of them travel, because I do the same thing. I'll bring on one rookie that's never done anything, and then I'll bring on one or two that kind of PM me that want a shot, and then I'll bring on 2 or 3 pros. And, I try to get everybody time to be creative and not feel rushed and stuff. But even then I tell them, like, you got 2 months. or you got a
Mhm.
month, and you got to get it done. If you're not done, you're bounced. I mean, I tell them straight out the gate. That's the way it's going to be. You know, I'll can you do this? If you can, all right, we can rock and roll. I'll pay you what you're wanting. But you know, like I said, the team matters. Yeah, oh yeah, Brian's an incredibly talented guy. His Lady Death Kickstarter and stuff is just like the holy grail of Kickstarters. Uh,
Right.
yeah, that dude's like the Kickstarter whisperer.
Mhm.
But yeah, your team definitely matters. And I know me personally, I definitely appreciate the folks like you and McLean and everyone kind of moving at my pace instead of
Mhm.
just kind of going, oh well, I'll get to this when I can or this that, and that happens sometimes. I mean, I've had to remove a couple of artists from my project because they thought their britches were bigger than mine, and that they could just string me along. And no, I'm not the one. I don't put people on pedestals, so you're not better than me.
Right.
Um, but yeah. So I mean, like, what would be your biggest advice you would give new creators coming in that's going to do Kickstarter for the first time? Because like I said, we've got to get a little more knowledge out there, because we've got these people floating around trying to feed people this 10K shit, and I think they're feeding the 10K shit so they can try to convince people to pay them pro wages when they're not
Mhm.
pros, you know.
Probably,
And
yeah, that's probably
in the
the agenda.
you're trying to rob.
Um, my advice to you is, set a reasonable budget for your project and go research, go click around Kickstarter, go look in the comics section and see what's popping, because you're going to find a majority of the issues are raising between like 1,000 to 3,000 is typical.
Yep.
And just look at the rewards, see what's popular, see what people like, and see how you can use that information to your advantage. Find an artist that works for your project, but don't break the bank. Because again, if Kickstarter doesn't work out, you get zero, you get nothing. So you want to be successful. You want to be smart about setting your budget so that way you can be successful. And jumping into the pro level, but no name pro, is definitely not going to help you.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I think also you got to be mindful that you don't, if you're the project manager for this thing, it's your creation. You can't be walking around asking people to do free work for you.
No.
You got to stop that shit. Save up your little allowance that mom gives you every week, and until you got enough, and then you pay someone. There's a lot of artists out there with great talent, and they deserve to be paid something. Now, again, they got to have a reality check too. If you're a new artist, and even if your art is really cool looking and unique, you can't be asking, $500-600 to do a cover when you've never done a cover. So they got to be realistic in their own site also. But pay people, find someone that fits your budget, find someone that you're comfortable with artistically, that you think will fit your project, and and try to you know get as much pre-promotion as you can. So really talk about it, go live, share out, maybe some of the art that's going to be in the project to get more eyes on. You definitely have to sell yourself, and you can't sit back and wait for Kickstarter to do it for you, obviously. What about oh, some of those things. You save your money. That, I mean, really and truly, Andrew, and I don't mean to sound rude or anything, so please don't take it that way, but that's really all it is to it. You save your money. So let's say you're, now if it's you and a friend, a real life friend, let's say you're a writer and he's an artist, and y'all trying to do a project together, and you're going to split stuff later, that's fine. But if you're going up to perfect strangers and saying, hey, I want to do this book, will you do it for free? Don't do that. Now, if you want to make a post and you say, hey, I've got this great idea, I'm a writer, I need an artist. Sadly, I do not have any money at the moment. Is there anyone that would be willing to jump on this project with me? That's fine, because if they send you a message at that point, then it's on them. Just don't go jumping in other people's PMs asking them to work for free. Especially don't go asking established, published artists that have legit followings and that's done published work and ask them to do a cover for you for free. If you want that artist, you know, find out what they charge and then save your money up, because most of the time it's going to be worth that investment because they've got a built-in fan base.
Yes, all of that. Sorry, I apologize. Someone was like trying to confirm stuff for tomorrow, and I was looking at my phone. I was half hearing it. I was like, yes to all. William knows what he's talking about. You don't need me to affirm you.
Yeah, and Frederick's got a good point. Contract every damn thing. I mean,
of course, put your rates in writing and have everybody sign it. That way, there's no question. Like, for example, my main artist, Marco DeFillo, he does my pencils and inks. He does not color my issues at this point, but I always have him put his color rate in there because things have happened and I've lost colorists before. So Marco might need to step in at some point if something falls apart. So we agree to a rate before he might not even color a damn thing in the issue, but if he needed to, we know what rate it is before we start.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to go ahead and let you guys in on a super, super, super special secret. If you're brand new, there are no royalties. So if any yeah, there's Frederick, I'm sorry, brother. I get what you're talking about. And I don't think you're necessarily meaning royalties. I think what you're probably talking about
payment.
Yeah, payment split, like once the Kickstarter funds or something. And again, I'm not putting words in your mouth. I'm assuming that's what you're referring to, because now that is a possibility. So if you did do a contract that said, hey, you know, we'll do this when the Kickstarter fulfills, after printing, after shipping, after everything that has to be done that pertains to the fans that supported the book, then we'll split the money, you know, this amount,
okay,
whatever.
That makes sense. Royalties to me is like when you sign a contract with a publisher and they're like, we're going to sell your book and you get 10%. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's no royalty. There's never going to be royalty. You're not going to get, you know, that's a super rare thing that you jump a Kickstarter and all of a sudden issue one's out and then here comes Netflix knocking on the door. You know, that's almost never going to happen.
Well, and here's the other thing too, is I have to remind people, me as the writer creator, I don't take a paycheck from this. Yeah. All of this money goes to pay the artists. So if they were to come to me and say like, hey, I want an extra on top of this, I'd be like, for what? I pay you for the art. That's what the contract is for. I sell the books. I do the things, and all the money goes back into the project so we can make more books. If you're getting royalties, I'm going to start taking a paycheck, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Because I get paid nothing.
Andrew, that completely varies in the indie market because there's a lot of things that apply to that. So if you're brand spanking new and never done nothing, no published work, no fan base, no nothing, you know, you probably, to get your name out there, you probably want to charge like $50. Now, I know that's probably going to rile some people up, but your name floating around on books are more important than you making $100 right then or whatever, you know. Now, once you get a little bit of name under you, a little bit of a following, then you can kind of move up in your prices, but it will vary. Now, so like I'm completely transparent with my prices. I have two types of prices. I have my prices I charge retailers to do retailer exclusives for like Image Comics, Dynamite, etc. And then I have a price that I charge indie creators. And even in the indie creator market, I do give a discount for that compared to my retailer prices. Now, I charge $500 to do a cover. Okay. But $100 of that goes to my colorist. I have my own colorist on tap. So anytime I need something done, I've got Dave and Dan Kemp, who are incredibly talented colorists that jump on this stuff and handle it for me and get it done in a timely manner. So therefore, the creators don't have to go chase down a colorist. Then on top of that, when said book goes into Kickstarter, I promote that Kickstarter. I tell my fans about it. I share out the links. I promote it on audio, you know, with these videos and stuff. If it's a retailer, I pre-sale the book for the retailer. So they're not even having to do the work in that scenario. So I bring more to the table than say someone else that may be sitting at my same level of popularity because of the extra mile that I go with the promoting and the pre-selling and all this other stuff to help these guys be successful as best I can. Now, I also bring to the table the fact I've got 70 plus published covers in the last 4 years. That's almost unheard of in this industry. And again, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. That's just facts. But what that tells people, and Lori can speak on this too. When you hire someone that has that kind of background, you know they don't miss deadlines. You know they don't vanish on you because of emotional reasons, or vanish on you because I need my coloring book and my teddy bear because someone on the internet hurt my heart. We work through sick, we work through exhausted, we work through anxiety, we work through depression, and we work through our own personal times. We're not sitting around playing football. We're not sitting around on Call of Duty. We're not on Fortnite, and we're not on TikTok. So, I mean, we're doing work. That's how you get that, what we've done. So it all varies. So my prices are not going to be the same as Joe Blow, who just rolled up on the block and thinking he's Pimp Daddy Delicious just because his mommy told him he's talented. So, and I know that sounds rude as hell, but I'm kind of sick of that.
No, but there's truth to that, because it's like me as a creator, I am looking for the people who are hungry. Yeah. I am looking for I'm looking for the art that's good. I'm looking for the following, and I'm looking for the people who are consistent and turning things out and will consistently post. That's the four-ecta. That's not a trifecta, it's a four-ecta. That's a four-piece nugget. That's what that is. Right. But that's what I'm looking for, is like when I want to do business with you, as I want to make sure like your prices make sense and that there's value to what I'm paying you. Call of Duty, yes. Oh my gosh, that was amazing. Yeah, you're gonna make a meme out of that.
So that's another thing for you new artists out there to keep in mind too. When you come to someone like me who's got a proven IP that's popular, and you go to someone like Lori who has a proven IP that's popular, and you come to us and you say, "Oh man, I love your book. It's awesome. I want to do a cover for it." Guess what? The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go to your Facebook page and I'm going to look. And when I look at your Facebook page and I scroll back 6 months plus, and all I see is football this, basketball that, PlayStation this, meme that. Whoa, I could barely roll out of bed today. Oh, it's such a hard one. I'm not hiring. If I see all of that and I don't see any art posted, that tells me right then and there you're not hungry. You will not meet the deadlines. You will not do quality work because you don't have enough experience from grinding art to do quality work. I mean, I'm sure Lori would probably say the same thing on that.
Yes. I'm looking to see what you're posting. I'm looking to see your following. I'm looking to see other projects. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a no, but depending on what I see, I'll be more likely to hire if it's positive, right? But the other thing that gets me is when artists approach me and they send me a portfolio and they way overprice their stuff. So I've had people send me things and it's decent. And I'm like, okay, what would you charge me for a cover? And right out the bat, they go like $800. And I'm like, okay, that's out of my price range for this. And they're like, well, what would what do you pay? And I was like, well, I would pay like this, maybe 100, 200. And they're like, okay, yeah, I would take 200. And I'm like, okay, so now I've completely lost my trust in you because your work isn't worth 800 and you know it. And you tried to rip me off.
Yep.
Right.
Hoping I didn't know better.
What?
Hoping I didn't know better.
Hoping I didn't know better. Right. 2, you took a much lower price, which if you are worth 800 and you could substantiate it, you would look at me and say, no deal. Right. I get paid $800. Why would I go backwards? Yep. So when you jump at $200, now I know I should pay you $50. But either way, it's like, now I can't trust anything because that's what our relationship is based off of. So price your things accordingly. Don't, if you're worth 800, price it. If you're worth 50, put it at 50. If I'm like,
And there's
hey, that's
nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being a $50 artist
there
or a
isn't.
$100 artist. I mean, you have to look yourself in the mirror and go, okay, am I giving this person quality work? Okay. Am I giving them positive deadlines that I can meet their deadlines? Am I going to grind it no matter how I feel that morning to get the deadline done? You got to look at those questions in the mirror and see how many you answer to. Is my art $100 art or is my art $500 art? If I'm saying to myself it's $500 cover art, why is it
Why?
500?
Yeah.
And it's got to start with quality. It's got to start with library of work behind you proving that you can do the work. And then, do I have a following of fans that will support that work? So you have to be realistic. You have to be honest with yourself. And there's too damn many artists floating around right now that see what myself do, what other artists do, what we charge, but they don't look at why we charge what we charge. They just go, oh, I'm new on the block. William charges this, so I'm going to match his prices. And then they get frustrated because nobody hires them.
Well, and one, you won't get hired from the jump, or two, we hire you once and we never speak to you again. Like as you guys can see on my projects, William is a returning artist. A lot of them rotate, and for multiple reasons. I like to do a different style. I like to give people their light of day. But if I have someone returning, it's because we had a good experience together, right? I don't ask people to come back very often. There has to be a good reason. So if you see someone returning, that's key. You know what I mean? But if you can't provide me that experience, don't expect to come back and don't expect me to pay you that dollar.
Yeah, and I mean,
I work hard for my money.
This is not easy. I mean,
No.
To have the library I've created for myself, have the following I've created for myself, to do that for anyone, you're sacrificing tons of stuff around you. Time with family, relationships, friendships, downtime, to play video games and shit like that. A lot of us are pulling, 12, 14-hour days, 6 days a week. And there's a lot goes into it. There's a reason we get paid what we paid. And there's a reason we have the fans that we have. And you want to make sure the people you bring on your project. So like for me personally, I don't really bring back too many to my project, and it has nothing to do with them. Like so far, knock on wood, I've only had like one situation, and even that was just so. The rest I had great interactions with, and I would bring them back. I just have to rotate it. I don't know why I do that. Every once in a while, I'll bring somebody back. Like I brought Amy back for a cover for this one, just because I really liked the style she did.
She does good stuff.
Marcelo's done a couple covers for me, but Marcelo does my interior art too. So I want to throw him a bone here or there for a cover art too. So there's always things that play into it. But yeah, me personally, I try not to bring too much back because I want to keep the new going on new covers. But like I said, there are a few people that I have brought back, and there's a couple of people that have covers that I plan to bring back again, because it's more, and it's not more of, have to or anything like that. It's just some of these people helped start this journey, and I kind of want to bring them back on the closing, of the storyline for the first 10 books. So it's more like that. But yeah, you're 100% right. If somebody has a terrible experience from you, they will never hire you again. And newsflash, they're going to tell us, and then we're never.
Like, everybody's gonna know.
Even though we don't go public and plaster it, everybody's going to know. So I mean, because it is.
I got to run in 4 minutes.
Yeah, no problem. Go ahead. Let's use this last few minutes then. And thank you for coming on such short notice, because I just wanted to have somebody else's, opinion and feedback on it. But tell us about Pale Rider. Give us the
you want the quick pitch.
Yep, on that one, and so everybody can know where to find you and the book.
Let me put it up one more time. Here we go. Path of the Pale Rider is a Western apocalypse series where death has been broken. So your body can die, but your soul doesn't leave your body upon death. You are not a brain-craving, flesh-eating zombie. You're you, me, William, your neighbor, your mom. It's just that as you decay, your brain rots in your skull, and you lose your memories, you become forgetful, violent, chaotic, dangerous. And it's people, animals, insects, fish. Nothing can die correctly anymore. When we start the story, it is 10 years into the apocalypse, and we're following this cowboy, Jude St. Clair, through the apocalyptic West. And he's like the last guy still looking for the answer to what broke death. 10 years into any kind of conflict, people have moved on. They're just ready to live their lives again in peace. But Jude is stuck, and he needs to know what broke death and if he can set it right. Issue number 2 goes to this town called Santa Claus, which I love. It cracks me up. Picks a fight. He's looking for information, etc., etc. It's a bad day. Ends up in jail. Issue number 3, we jump back in time. There's William's cover. We jump back in time so you get to experience day 1 of when Death went missing. So our cowboy Jude is now an EMT. He's a young man living at home with his parents, and you get to see the famine, the just the chaos, the government overstep, the ethical questions. All of that crazy stuff happens really fast, and the last page is always kind of a cliffhanger or tearjerker or something in my book. So that kind of catches you up. In issue number 4, we pick up where we left off, and Jude is now very much in it's the end of an era. Things are broken. We're going to burn everything down and start fresh is where we are. We're going to deal with what happened at the end of the last book, and you're going to see what made Jude St. Clair the man he is, and why he is so determined to figure this out. Yeah, there's lots of good stuff. So if you like Book of Eli, Good, Bad, and the Ugly, Walking Dead, and Cocaine Bear, this is pretty much for you. We do shenanigans. I kind of mentioned I have the craziest welcome video on Kickstarter. Go watch it. It's amazing. We've unlocked a bunch of stretch goals. We're still unlocking things. We write riddles. So on the back cover of every comic, there is a riddle which you get to interact with the world. This will take you to a real place in the digital space. This one, when you solve this, you get to interact with a character, like something shows up in your mailbox. And this one is a QR scavenger hunt, QR code. And one of these is bonus material. It's a short film created by myself, like you stumbled through the internet and found something in the world of Path of the Pale Rider. If you like short films, we do interactive short films where the fans can actually be in them. We have riots, commercials. This one, I was a reporter who interviewed people about what they think broke death. We got some really cool conspiracy theories. And this one is a jump scare. We're currently working on the next one in the series, which is called A Day in the Life. So we're keeping on. There's stuff about us as creators. Feel free to browse around. No AI, other projects, all good stuff. We got secret rewards, metal covers. Here is Williams right here. He's got 8 backers in there right now. We would love to see more get his cover.
I have to go. I'm going to have to go chew some booties.
What's that?
I'm going to have to go chew some booties. Y'all better get over there and get my dang cover off this damn Kickstarter.
Here it is. It's such a great Western homage, because we were talking about like wanted posters and sepia prints, and it turned out really good. So I'm really happy with this. And yeah, go take a look around. I'm gonna go. I gotta run. I gotta hop on another live stream. And thanks for having me on. I appreciate everybody. And we'll see you again soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Come on to another one.
Oh, she just crashed.
I think I froze. Bye, everybody.
She's freezing on the way out. All right, so yeah, so I mean, definitely go check out Lori's Kickstarter. The link is here in the chat somewhere. I'm telling you, it's a really good book. You guys will definitely dig it, especially if you're a fan of, the whole zombie kind of storyline with a twist, a little bit of, Western thrown in. She's a great writer. She's also writing, for me on Psycho South 4, 5, and 6, the female perspective for one of the victims. So definitely go back in, and if you're one of my followers, Guys, go over there and show Lori some love and grab my copy of my cover on the Kickstarter. That cover was a lot of fun to do. A lot of staining and even coffee was used on the original artwork to create that cover. Um, but yeah, so I mean, like I said, the main reason I was wanting to have this chat tonight, and of course I'm super grateful Lori took the time to jump on here, because I know she's super busy with what she's got going on with this Kickstarter and then her podcast and stuff like that. I just wanted to have a second person on here to give a little bit of their thought process. So we're going to talk a little bit now about what's upcoming for my projects and stuff with Psycho Sal and things like that. Because I'm realizing there's still a good bit of you guys that don't know what Psycho Sal is. Like I did a sale video the other night, and we talked about you know what Psycho Sal is, what's the point of the story, where we're going with it, things like that. And there were some people on there that did not know that was what the story was about. They knew it was a horror comic, and they knew and of course not everyone's into horror, so that's why they may not have given it much thought in the process of whenever they saw the posts and things like that. But in that world, we're doing something that's very unique and very original, that we haven't seen done before. I'm not going to say it's completely impossible, but I know we've not been able to find anything doing a little bit of research, and we've talked to other creators and stuff that's been around for a while, and they haven't seen anything. With Psycho Sal, we've got issue number 4 is at print. We're just waiting on our turn in the queue for that. And, issue number 5 is being drawn as we speak. It's all, it's over half done. That goes into Kickstarter later this month. And like I said, we've been busting our ass to try to keep it about 2 months or so in between each book. And, with just a little minor delay here or there that has to do with printing or something like that. But it's set in the 1980s. It's about a serial killer in New Orleans in that time frame, and the way we're writing that book, is completely different from the way people have written comics in general. Most of the time, comics are written, from the hero's perspective. Are written from every once in a while you'll see it from the villain's perspective. But the way we're trying to do it is we want to create a book. Hang on one second, guys. I want to share this out to a couple other places since I didn't get a chance to share too much there to start. So we're trying to deal with a book that we want people to be super involved in. As I stated, most comics you're seeing something through the eyes of someone else, but it's usually that kind of third party feeling to where you're not getting too invested, other than maybe this character or that character, and that's kind of normal. But what we're trying to do is we want to pull people in. So we're giving you the first 3 books are all from the lead FBI agent's perspective. And so you have that normal kind of detached exposure to these things happening. You're seeing, victims and stuff like that, but yet you're kind of seeing it from a distance. But when we get to issues 4, 5, and 6, we kind of change the perspective with that part of the story. And now you're seeing and experiencing everything through the eyes of one of the victims, this young lady named Tori. And, she's a, happy, outgoing, bubbly, college student that lives in New Orleans. And, she's working her way through college as a bartender on, Bourbon Street. And then, she volunteers at the children's hospital, things like that. So you get real attached with her and how she is with her community and her brother and these children at the hospital. So now we've brought you in to where you're getting that solid emotional connection with a character, instead of just watching a police drama. You know what I mean? And then, and then as we progress and get to issues 7 through 10, we change that perspective again. And um, and now you're experiencing everything, through the eyes of Psycho Sal. So now you're going to be exposed, you know to the psychopath. Now you're going to be so exposed to what's going through his head, and how he sees his victims, and how he sees the world around him, and things like that. So you're going to be allowed access to an incredibly twisted person, with Psycho Sal, and you're not going to like him. He's not Freddy. He's not cracking jokes. He's not Jason, where he was somebody that was, bullied and abused, as a kid, and you're rooting for him to knock off the clique of, pain in the butt, people we went through high school with, uh, and rooting for him. So, and we didn't want that to happen. And that's why, we created Psycho Sal the way we did, and we created this killer, and this just very hateful person, to where people wouldn't side with him, because I mean, there's no doubt about it. We as people have this weird obsession with serial killers anyway, whether they be real life or movie things. And then, of course, with the movie ones now, you get some people siding with those characters. Like I said, liking Freddy because he's cutting all these jokes and stuff like that. And we didn't want that to happen with Psycho Sal, because we wanted to create this environment that was pure terror. And when you have somebody that you know could literally be anyone for the most part around you, or around any corner, because the way we've designed Psycho Sal, he doesn't fit into the normal, um, you know profiles for serial killers. He doesn't hunt a certain, race, or he doesn't hunt a certain sex, or anything like that. So he's all over the board with his victims. It doesn't matter to him whether rich or poor, black or white or whatever color. He doesn't care if you're male or female. And that creates a very terrifying situation in a city, compared to the way serial killers were in, that have been in the past, where they did fit a profile. So, like, if your killer was killing all blonde women, then women would just dye their hairs and lessen their chance of being, catching that killer's eye. If you were male, and that's who the killer was killing, then you knew the females were safe, or vice versa. So we didn't want to create anything that gave anybody a safe zone. You know what I mean? We wanted a city that was just pure, wrapped in terror, that everybody was scared to leave their home. When you read the first issue of Psycho Sal, there's been 4 murders already, 2 male, 2 female, and every single murder is different. Like I said before, if it hadn't been for, you know, um, Psycho Sal leaving a calling card, at any of the murders, they would not have known that there was a murder, or a serial killer rather. So that in itself has already created a real problem for the FBI agents and the New Orleans police that are working the murders, because that narrows nothing. Again, when you have 4 murders that you didn't even know were serial killers, other than the calling card, I mean, that really throws a monkey wrench in anything that could help you narrow it down. You know, there's going to be lots of twists and turns in the book. We've got a lot of great emotional spots in the storyline that's going to really mess with you. We've got a lot of you know, just classic like thriller, you know, roller coaster ride moments, and you know, and that's made the book a lot of fun because, like I said, it kind of cuts down on the predictability of it. And, you know, and there's, you know, I'm one of those people, like, I can't stand the whole stormtrooper shit that they can't hit a target. So everybody's safe in the damn universe. You know, like I see that on a lot of these books and movies and comics and stuff these days, where there's no threat of loss, you know. There, you know, oh well, he you know, nobody dies, so you're fine, so everybody's fine, so there's no, you know, that's one of the things I loved about like the writing and the TV series for Game of Thrones is, you know, what's his name that created that story, he's not afraid to kill off main characters. And that's the way I view with Psycho South. Is, I mean, there's going to be moments where it's going to be holy hell, and I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be a major character in this book, you know, that's going to meet its end at some point, because I am not scared to kill off, you you know, a main character, or supporting character, however you want to view them, because for me, all of them are main characters. You know what I'm saying? So, um, you know, there's going to be some moments in this book where it's really going to shake some of the readers up, because I know some of you are already attached to several of the characters in there. You know, I've gotten the fan messages and stuff where, you know, people are talking about they really like, you know, Victor. They feel they, you know, they you know, Victor's going, you know, he's been going through this tragedy and dealing, you know, with this death in his inner circle. And you guys will find out who that was here soon, because every issues like 1, 2, and 3, you know, every start of the book, he's standing in front of the same headstone in one of the cemeteries and dropping off flowers and talking to the person. And you guys are going to find out soon who that was, and how that, you know, affected him. So, you know, you already have this character that's, you know, got old school morals. You know, he's all about doing the right thing. What's up, Andre? And he's dealing with this death, you know, that was personal to him. And then a lot of people are super attached, of course, to Sarah Dinks, the other, his partner, the other lead FBI agent working the murders with Victor Gray. And you guys are super attached to her. Some of you are, because Sarah's not, you know, she's not there for TNA. You know what I mean? That wasn't a character I threw in to go, oh, well, here's this strong male character. Now let's put in some eye candy on his arm as a partner to get the eye candy crowd. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that, but I mean, that's not what we wanted her for. You know, from day one when I designed her, excuse me, Sarah is a straight up badass. You know, she is not, you know, she didn't get her position because of some, you know, somebody liked her. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't an affirmative action kind of thing or anything like that. You know, she busted her ass where she's at. You know, she was in top 3 of her class. You know, in police, FBI training and stuff like that. She has a very high IQ. She is not, you know, and don't get me wrong, she's beautiful, but she is not your normal, you know, co-star, so to speak. She is legit badass in her own right. Probably runs circles around Victor, to be honest with you. You know, she's someone that trains for fighting. She's someone that trains for shooting. She's constantly grinding to be the best she possibly can at anything that pertains to what with her career. You know, so she has that ride or die mentality. She's super loyal to Victor. She's super loyal to you know, to her friends and family and things like that. So she's definitely a no nonsense. She speaks her mind. She doesn't sugarcoat shit. So Sarah Deems has definitely been a big hit with some of you guys, and then and when Tori comes on the scene, or I'm sorry, not Tori, Tony. I'm sorry, guys, I'm tired. When Tony comes on the scene in issue number 4, that one's going to melt your heart, because we're writing Tony, and when I gave Lori my notes, I made it super clear to her, that Tony has to be written in the way to where she is the purest of the pure walking around. And you guys know what I'm talking about. If you've ever met that one person, and again, it doesn't happen very often, but you meet that person and they're this just automatic ray of sunshine around you. You know what I mean? Like the minute you're around that person, like everything around you feels better. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure some of you have experienced that, where you've bumped into that person that they're, that's a good person. It's not someone pretending to be good. That's someone who, like she would be someone who, um, she would be that type to, walk an elderly person across the street, or she would be that type to, set up all night long with one of her friends that, have went through a tragedy, or, not just send thoughts and prayers through Facebook. You know what I mean? Um, she's that type that she could have just worked, a 10-hour day, gotten a phone call that one of her friends were going through some kind of hardship, and she would go straight to that friend and sit with them as long as she needs to. She's the type that would go out of her way to try to make anybody around her feel better. You get what I'm saying? Like, so she's that. So you're going to get extremely attached to her. And like I said about that emotional roller coaster, we're about to put you through the ringer. We started turning the heat up a little bit with issue number 3, where we're setting the pace with 2 and 3. And issue 4 really turns that heat up. And then as we get into issue 5, all hell breaks loose. You guys are about to have probably one, in my personal opinion, from reading reading my notes for the book, and then reading the script and everything from Lori. You guys are about to go through one hell of a roller coaster emotionally. You would have to be brain like heart dead or something not to. I don't know. But so yeah, I'm super proud of that. I'm super proud of where we're going with the book. Like I said, we're not doing just in your face horror slasher, blood and guts flying everywhere kind of thing. Some of the stuff you see in this book, you see it happen off screen. So, but you'll get the point. Now there'll be some things that will happen on screen that is going to be uncomfortable. And again, that's to really solidify that point about Psycho Sal not being your a likable villain. Um, so yeah, I'm super excited. I cannot wait. This book has definitely been a lot of fun. And then at the first of the year, we've got a new book coming, Cycle of the Blood Moon. And it's about a werewolf clan set in the early 18. I thought, for some reason, I thought it was the late 1700s, but it's not. It's actually the early 1800s. It's like 1830 or something like that is when the first this story takes place. So I'm super damn excited about that one, because we'll be dealing with one of my favorite, horror genre stuff, werewolves. So we'll be dealing with werewolves and witches and other little things that go bump in the night. So I'm super damn excited about that book. I mean, that book I'm like crazy excited about, because slashers are like, I'm a big fan of thrillers and suspense movies and slashers. I grew up watching 70s slashers, 80s slashers, especially. I grew up watching Hitchcock and all these other suspense movies and so on, Psycho. So I grew up with a lot of that stuff. So Psycho Sal is definitely one of my favorite genres also. But once you get into like the mythology stuff, myths and legends and things told around campfires, man, you really got me there. I mean, obviously, big fan of the old classics. There's Wolfman on the front and Frankenstein on the back. So I'm a big fan of the old black and white classics, but like I said, I'm a big fan of the slashers too. But yeah, if I had to pick my absolute favorite, monster to be doing, it's definitely a werewolf. Vampires are cool. Vampires are badass in stories. There's a lot you can do with them, whether you're going to, romantic style with like Dracula and things like that. Or you're going more into the, war stuff with like, crap. I'm sorry. I'm tired. What's the name of the damn vampire movie that had that? Where is the vampires versus the lichens? Yeah. Wow. I'm having a brain fart. But anyway, I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. Or you're going into the more sinister ones of like the ones from. Wow, I am really tired. My brain has just went to jelly. The one where they're in Alaska, Underworld. Thank you, Frederick. And what's the name of the one where they're in Alaska, where they're completely feral style vampires? They're not, there's nothing sexy about them. That's a great movie, by the way, if you haven't seen it. But it takes place in Alaska, where it's dark for like 30 days. Shit, I can't remember the name of it. But that's a great movie too if you haven't seen it. So vampires are cool. There's so many ways you can do them. Just 30 days a night. There we go. Thank you, Frederick. I guess you think I would have dawned on me when I said 30 days of darkness, talking about where it was. I'm tired. You guys have to overlook me. I've been going since 5:30 this morning. I stopped long enough today to run some stuff to the post office and grab some lunch. And I've been grinding art the rest of the day. So please overlook me. So there's tons of ways to do that, but I don't know. There's something about the whole vampire, the werewolf and lichen stuff that I really, really think is just badass. Because I'm not doing giant wolves or anything like that. Like we're doing old school, Wolfman, style types of werewolves and lichens. Because we're going to have two. We are going to have two types in the book. There will be lichens. Now, for those of you maybe unaware of what there are in that mythology, so you have what's called lichens. Now, lichens, the true form of lichens, they're purebloods. They were born that way, so they are lichens. Werewolves are humans who were turned by lichens. So you've got werewolves and you got lichens. Lichens are bigger. They have more control over when they can change and stuff like that. Werewolves are smaller versions of them. They're bigger than their human self. So they are bigger than who they are as a human, but they're not as big as lichens. Lichens are like 7 feet tall. You know what I'm saying? 600 pounds. So think like giant gorilla. You know what I'm saying? That would be like what you could compare it to. So you got lichens and you got werewolves. And like I said, werewolves are smaller but bigger than their human counterpart. And they have no control over when they change. So when when it starts the phases of the full moon, that's when they start having some issues, and they cannot control themselves. Once a full moon hits, they completely change, and most of their humanity is gone. They're pretty much just feral animals, and that's where a lot of the mythology comes from, because the lichens, even though they do feed sometimes on humans, they actually have thought. So while they're in lichen form, they still have their mental capacity of who they are as a human. They have their personality, etc., just in a more feral form. They can't really talk very well in that form, but they have control of their thinking, and can control their emotions and stuff to a degree. and they can change pretty much whenever they want to, whether it be day or night, full moon or not. So the lichens are real unique, and like I said, those are pure bloods, and those are the ones who run the clans. So there's different houses in this universe, and there are occasions where humans get turned by a lichen. Um, you know, um, and usually those are where the kind of the campfire stories come from. The myths and legends kind of come from those those feral werewolves that get out of hand or something like that, and get seen occasionally or whatever, however you want to word it. So yeah, so we're going to have something real unique with that. Um, but yeah, that one I'm super excited about because it's dealing with we're going to stick to the mythology of the core of a lot of it. There'll be some things thrown in there like that are urban legends about werewolves and things like that. And we're going to be dealing with some witches and things like that, like some legit like actual witches, and and I don't mean the pointy hat kind, you know. Um, so yeah, that book is going to be a lot of fun. I've got that book planned for 10 issues also. The first storyline on it, and that one's going to be very fun and very interesting on how we're laying it out. And the characters on that are going to be some really cool ass characters that you guys are going to get attached to. We've got the hero for the main guy. He's very formal. He's very by the rules, for the clans and stuff. And then we're going to have, like his sisters, more of the kind of wild card, kind of liking. She's very passionate about her family. Her brother means everything to her and her mother. And she's more of the, kind of, loose cannon sometimes when it comes to her family. And then, we're going to have some other members that are mixed in there. There's this one guy that he can't take any damn thing serious whatsoever. That type of personality. And then there'll be some others mixed in with it also. Um, you know, um, there's one lichen. There's one lichen in it. He's such a whore. For lack of a word. Like this dude, like he's the type that he could be full blown in lichen form and be fighting someone in the streets of Europe, in this time frame, and a pretty face walk by or a pretty face sees them fighting and he spots her on the outskirts of the road watching, and he's the type that would stop in the middle of the fight to be like, to try to like say hi to her, like he's so bad, like he's such a whore, but to the point to where he'll just like he could be in the middle of a fight and he'd just stop fighting because he's wanting to flirt, that kind of thing, even though he's in lichen form and she's terrified, like he would be that type of person. um so there's going to be some really interesting characters that are mixed in with this one. Like I said, because you're dealing with that family, that clan. Clan White Paw is the main one, and then you're dealing with these other characters that rotate into the story from these other clans, because they're very soldier driven. You know what I mean? They're very coordinated with how they fight. They're very you know um, trained according to what's the word I'm looking for? They're very trained according to the pack leader stuff. You know what I'm saying? So each one of the clans have their own alphas, and that's a pack leader of that clan, and that alpha's word is law. Like, and when I say the alpha's word is law, like if the alpha lays down of command in the alpha language, for lack of a better description, there is no fighting it. They can't fight it. So I mean, the alpha's law is law, and so you're going to see aspects of that right there, where these guys follow things, like I said, very military style chain of command to a degree, because you have your alphas and then you have your betas, that are kind of like the second in command scenario. So yeah, so Cycle of the Blood Moon, like I said, set in the 1830s, and it's dealing with these group of witches who are trying to resurrect this Lycan blood god. And the last time he was, on Earth, he almost like decimated the human population, because he had, he was extremely powerful, because he was being fed more energy and more power from from that group of witches back when he was alive. And so he was, and he believed that, that they shouldn't hide in the shadows, that humans were cattle, that whole kind of trope that you've seen with other werewolf movies or vampire movies, especially, that humans were just cattle. And so they almost wiped out a huge population of Europe, and it was also during the time, of the Black Plague and stuff like that. So they kind of piggybacked off that to hide a lot of the deaths and stuff. But yeah, so I mean, it's so they're trying to resurrect him. They're trying to stop the group of witches. So it'll be interesting for you guys to see how that story develops and unravels. But that's the two biggest things. Like I said, Psycho Sal's going on right now. We've got issue number 5 goes to Kickstarter this month, and damn sure. And I wish I had the images loaded on my computer so I could show you, but they're not. They're on my phone. Damn sure, make sure you guys show up for this Kickstarter, because we are going to have some extremely cool and unique items on this Kickstarter. Like, we're going to have some books on this Kickstarter that are one of one. That is only one type of that book. It'll come numbered, etc. It'll come with a COA that says such and such Kickstarter, one of one. It'll never be duplicated. So we're going to have some of those things. We'll have some of these unique bundles, that are like specific covers from the Kickstarter, but there's only like 5 of those bundles created. And then, of course, it'll come numbered, and it'll come with a COA also. So we're going to have things like that. And then, of course, the artists that we have on board for this one, right now we have 10 total covers. We might have one more cover coming, a little surprise cover. But as of right now, there's 10 covers total, which is, I think, our largest Kickstarter so far for covers. We got Amy Good on it. We got Ruth Lucas. We have a couple of firsts on this Kickstarter also. And so let me give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So we have, we brought back Amy Good for this Kickstarter. So Amy Good did a cover. Ruth Lucas has done a cover. Ken Hunt's cover that we previewed on Kickstarter number 4 in the black and white will be on this Kickstarter in color. And he had a absolutely badass cover. We also brought on Ivy Cosplay. This is our first ever cosplay cover, and she cosplayed as Sarah Dinks, one of the lead FBI agents, and she absolutely killed it. No pun intended. She did a great cover. She's got a regular cover and a risque cover. Sean Forney did a cover on this one. Also absolutely killed his cover too. And then we brought Anna Zool on for this cover. Again, absolutely killed it. And then we've got my cover on it, which I cannot wait to show you guys that cover in color. And it's the first naughty cover on Psycho Sal. And there is a nice version of it, but there's a naughty version too. We previewed it on the live sale post last night or the other night, whenever I was. It's an homage to Batgirl. I think it's Batgirl 41, that controversial cover that kind of freaked some people out back then. This cover is definitely going to freak some people out. I'm sure it's going to hit some buttons of somebody, and oh well. Like I said, Psycho Sal is not meant to be pleasant. It's meant to push the uncomfortable button and show you how bad of a bad person he is. And this cover definitely represents that. And then, of course, the featured artist on this Kickstarter is Ryan Kincaid. I'm so damn grateful for all the artists that decided, to come on board to do issue number 5. And Ryan Kincaid's cover, holy shit. I cannot wait to show you guys Ryan Kincaid's. And like I said, Ryan Kincaid will be the featured artist on this cover, this Kickstarter. So we'll have some really cool bundles for his cover. But yeah, you're not going to want to miss it. Damn sure show up and show out. This Kickstarter is going to have a lot of cool stuff on it, including something I did on last Kickstarter that I was only able to do 2 of. This Kickstarter, I think I'll be able to do like 4, and that's the cosplay tier. We'll have a tier where it actually has Psycho Sal's cosplay gear in it. His mask, his rain poncho, his knife. So you can straight up, cosplay Psycho Sal. So we'll have that tier back on this Kickstarter. We'll also be bringing back the fan favorite of the Slaughter tier. That's the box that has the signed knife in it. It has the actual police report for one of the murders. It has an evidence bag with one of the voodoo cards in it. It has a rain poncho. It has the crime scene tape along with some of the covers. So we're bringing that back. And we're going to be adding some new fun stretch goal stuff too. We're going to be adding the voodoo card stretch goal, where everybody gets one of the voodoo cards with new art on it. We'll be doing the Psycho Sal koozie thingy. Or did I do that on the last one? I got to check because I don't want to duplicate something I did on the last one. But yeah, we're going to be adding some new stretch goals that are kind of fun. The other one I'm debating real hard on is I'm thinking real hard about adding Psycho Sal t-shirt stretch goal. But now, if I do Psycho Sal t-shirt stretch goal, it will be new art. It'll be different from the t-shirts we just sold. That says Psychopath on the front, and on the back it said Psycho Sal Tour 1986. The one, if I do a stretch goal for a t-shirt, it'll probably be the one that says Psycho Sal on the front. So just simple, straight to the point. And that one will come. If I do that one, it will come in 2. The stretch goal there'll be 2 types of stretch goals. Not stretch goals, I'm sorry. There'll be a stretch goal, and then there'll be I'll save the other one for the next Kickstarter. But anyway, so this one will be different artwork. So it'll just say Psycho Sal on it, and then it'll be a different color batch. All the other shirts have been black with red writing. This one will be red shirt with black writing. So it'll be a completely different thing. So yeah, but now that one, that'll be like a $10,000 stretch goal. So you guys will have to show up. You guys will have to show out. And, because I definitely want to hit that 10K on this one. We've gotten close a couple times. Like I said, we're going to be making some adjustments on some of the prices for the books on this one. Again, not raising prices per se to be raising them. We're just going to move Psycho Sal, because I've done 4 Kickstarters that were affordable for everyone across the board. All we're going to be doing is moving Psycho Sal to match other Kickstarters with similar popularity in their price range. That's the only thing we're doing. So we're not jumping prices up crazy, but we're just moving into the realm of what everyone else is kind of doing for IPs that are similar to my popularity. So yeah, we're definitely going to be adding some cool stuff. Yeah, we're going to have some really cool stretch goals. We're going to do some new tiers on this one. Like I said, we got some really cool shit coming. Like I'm going to take a page out of Brian Polito's book with these mystery. Like we're going to do some mystery envelopes that that where you get a one of item in one of the covers that is very damn unique with the way the cover's created. That is a one of with signs, numbered, COA, the whole 9 yards. You're not going to want to miss those because any of the one-off mysteries that we do, we will not do again. And I will and it will be one of the top tier covers on the Kickstarter. So you get what I'm saying? So we'll have like 3 or 4 of those mystery envelopes that has a one of one book. So every mystery envelope will be a different type of cover, a high end, we're talking like those, when you get into those metals and gold foil, lava metals, etc., that kind of shit. But so they'll be super unique. That'll be the only one on the Kickstarter, and they won't be reused on another Kickstarter for those covers. So yeah, there's lots of cool goodies we're having. So like even the little, the bundle things that are the unique covers that there's only 4 of or 5 of, those will be unique to this Kickstarter only. So yeah, lots of cool stuff, lots of goodies planned. So be ready because that's going to go. If everything, because again, I want to make sure the book is like 99% done before I turn the Kickstarter on. So I'm praying that I can turn this Kickstarter on probably on, I'm kind of hoping for Friday 13th. That's kind of what I want to turn it on for. So I got to touch bases with Marcelo. I got to touch bases with McLean tomorrow to see where we're at and see if the 13th is going to be doable. Because I really, really, really want to launch this on Friday 13th. But we shall see. Worst case scenario, it may be the 20th. But I'm hoping for the 13th. But anyway, guys, I'm going to get off here. Like I said, everything said on this video is just my thoughts, my opinions. You don't have to use them if you don't want to. Just be realistic with yourself. If you're trying to do Kickstarters, be realistic with yourself. If you're an up and coming artist, understand why some of us, charge what we charge. And it's not necessarily about the quality. I got a little hair, right? You see it right there? It's not necessarily just about the quality of work. There's lots of other aspects that play into it, from our following to our library of work behind us. All of that plays into it. So keep that in mind. Really look yourself in the mirror and figure out where you're at, what you bring to the table, and what that value is, because it definitely matters. But anyway, you guys have a wonderful night. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and chatting. Thank you, Lori, for coming in and giving another perspective and thoughts, of her opinion. But make sure you guys go check out her Kickstarter. I think I saw it had like 10 or 12 days left on it. If you're one of my fans and you haven't grabbed her cover on that Kickstarter, please go do so. That's super important to us as artists. That helps show them that you guys love what we do. And like I said, you're not going to regret it because she's a great writer. You'll love the book. But anyway, go check them out. I'll chat with you guys later. Have a great night.